I'm Aussie Villain and welcome to another tutorial, this time for transfers, making a transfer bid. Now I do daily Football Manager content, so if that's something that you are interested in, make sure you subscribe, hit thumbs up on the video if you find that helpful, and ring the bell so you know when I upload new videos. And yeah, like I say, today it's all about signing a player. Now this is your shortlist where you have just did an episode on scouting, so this is sort of continuing on from that. So this is your shortlist where you've scouted players, these are the ones you like, and now you want to try and make a signing. So how would you go about it? Typically, you can see here we've got there's two boxes. This is just anybody that you've scouted and is on your shortlist. Doesn't necessarily mean they want to join you. If you tick this, these are the guys interested in joining you on a transfer, so permanently. And these guys are the ones that want to join you on loan. Now they will often be, there won't be exclusively one list or the other. But yeah, it depends on if you're looking just to loan a player or if you do want to try and make a permanent signing. So let's go and have a look here. I did just come across this goalkeeper and taken my interest. So let's start with him. Now, Ask the Agent is a very good place to start. Does he want to come? And if he does, is it something that we can afford? So he has a 64 million release fee, so there's not going to be much room for us to negotiate there, I wouldn't have thought. But if we want to pay 64 million, we'll probably get him, it looks like, because he wants to be considered one of the most noteworthy players at the club. Now, in terms of a goalkeeper, if they're first choice, they can be anything from first choice to it might as well be a star player because they're going to play most games anyway, aren't they? So that's, of course, a different to the contract side of things. There's the wage that he's going to want, which is probably just about doable. He'll want a long-term contract, and he'll want to win a domestic cup in the next. We all want to win a domestic cup, mate. You'll have to work for it, though. And he is likely to gain a work permit. So all these things are very useful. So we can agree to that, and then we could go and negotiate a transfer. But given that there's a release fee, that's not going to do us much good because they're going to want. I can tell you exactly what they're going to want. They're not going to negotiate. They're going to say 64 million. They want the release fee, and there's going to be absolutely no room to negotiate. So we won't bother with that one. And I don't have money to do it anyway. So let's go with Jadon Sancho. Now, we've already established that he's interested in joining us. We can see here 79 million is what Man United are going to want. And we can see there his weekly wage. He wants a long-term deal, and he wants to be a regular should Raheem Sterling ever leave the club. So we'll say, yep, that's fine. And we can go and start negotiating. So they want 79 million. So we could just offer them 79 million. Absolutely, we could, and they'd probably accept, and we can go from there. But that wouldn't be much of a tutorial. So let's have a look and see what else you can do here to try and make the fee go in our way. So you can do installments. This is a good way to sort of take a little bit out of this year's transfer budget, a little bit out of next year's transfer budget, and so on and so forth. So you could do it every 6 months, or you could do it once over 3 years. You could pay once a month over 3 years. Now, what you'll typically find, if we do, let's say, can we get to 25 million 3 times? That gets us to 75 million, doesn't it? So then we would say, to make it even, let's say 5 million for... Okay, no, wait. So we need to take this. If we were to try and make the fee, basically, so we could maybe just... Oh, we can only go up to 50 million. So we'll try... Basically, I'm trying to get this to 80 million, aren't I? So let's do 30 million. So we are looking to pay 30 million up front and 50 million over, over the years. Now, if we were to suggest that, they don't like that because they want the money up front. So the issue with doing installments is that it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to pay the same amount. They're probably going to want to make you pay more. So let's not do that, obviously. So that's installments can be a good way to break things up, but equally they can be a very good way to pay more for a player as well. Now, while we've got this here, this is a good opportunity to show you this percentage of next transfer fee. Now, if you are trying to sell a player, and we'll do a separate tutorial on that, yes, you want these add-ons, so maybe not the specific one, but you would want that. You don't want, if we were to sell Jadon Sancho on, we want the profit to go to us. We don't want Man United to get anything. So the way you would make sure that this is not going to come back up again, and we're lucky because they've not insisted on it being part of the deal, remove and exclude. Not just remove, but remove and exclude takes it off the table. It's not going to happen anymore. So let's go back to the 79 million here. Don't make me do it all again. 75 and... So let's have a look at some of the other fees here. So you can do average, after league appearances. Now this is a really good one. 50 games. That way, if they do actually play for you, then that's fine. You've got your money's worth already because they've played 50 games. So let's say 10 million after 50 games, and we'll take this down now to well, let's take 10 million off the initial fee, shall we? So 69. So yeah, that's that. Now, per league appearance, now this is you got to be a little bit careful with this one. So if you were to do, and I've actually almost done it before, where you think that you get these two confused, it adds up very, very quickly. If we were to pay, almost 40 grand for 50 games, and that's each game he plays, you pay that, it can add up quickly. So maybe that's one to avoid. Now, you can do here after international appearances as well, add on a fee. I mean, anything that right now that will help bring the initial fee down is fine. Again, not one that I particularly use, to be honest, but yeah, so that's that. Obviously it is an option if you wanted to not necessarily pay it up front. Minimum league goal, another one I like to use because especially Sancho. I mean, Sancho's probably not scoring 50 goals for us, is he? So let's say 10 million for that. We'll take this down to 59. And we've also got players to exchange. So I would avoid this, and the reason I would avoid this is because we could get everything wrapped up with Jadon Sancho. He's agreed a fee, a contract, everything is ready to go on our end. If the player we're trying to exchange doesn't like his contract offer and calls it all off, transfer's cancelled. So it takes a lot out of your hands. So I would always say no. Don't exchange players, just negotiate a fee and then sell the player independently in a separate deal. Now, bonuses after competition achievement, another one that is useful because it means you're only paying for them or portion of them if you basically achieve the goals that you're looking to achieve. So qualifying for the Champions League or winning the Premier League might be a good one because that means you're getting Champions League money coming in. So let's say we go and add another 10 million on there for that and take another 10 million off down to 49 million. Now, they're not going to agree to 49 million. They're going to probably want more up front, even though the total amount potentially they're getting is the same. You can add minimum games for this as well and expiry dates. I don't worry about it, to be honest. If I win the Premier League, I'm happy to pay 10 million, to be honest. And if you were in the Champions League already, or in a European competition, you could also then add in. Would be an option to add in winning that particular competition as well. But because we're not in the Champions League first season or Europe at all, then we don't have that option. Now, additional clauses here: percentage of next fee going to the team or going to Manchester United in this case. Always avoid it because, like I say, what you don't want, or avoid it if you can. And maybe you don't have an option; you've just got to do it. Because what you don't want to do is sell him on for a massive profit and then have some of that going to Manchester United. You just want to try this deal is done. We do this, it's done. If I sell him on the future, that's my business. Man United don't have anything to do with it. They don't get any money for it. So that is that. A buyback price. Again, if you are buying a player, it's not really something you want. The only reason I would ever see that you'd want this is if you're buying a really good young player and the club that you're buying from is not really wanting to sell them. If you add in an option for them to buy them back at some point, and you would add it in for, you obviously want to make some money off of it. It might tempt them to then go and sell them, knowing that they can get them back. But it's giving the player a reason or a way to leave your team outside of your control. So clauses on that front, don't particularly like them. Now, selling wage contribution, and this could be one that works for us here. If you are buying a player on big money at a big club that doesn't want them anymore, you might be able to convince them to pay some of the wages that you're not going to have to pay. Now, what you will typically find is that if they're paying the wages, they'll want a little bit more in the transfer fee. But it can be a good way if you are... Now, Chelsea, again, is not maybe the best example of this, but if you were, say, I always pick on Burnley for some reason. If you were Burnley and you can't afford that, probably, I don't know, I haven't managed Burnley, but I'm assuming that Jadon Sancho's almost 300 grand a week is going to be outside of what you can afford. But if you can get Man United to pay 140 of it, about half of it, you might be able to afford 140 grand a week to get Jadon Sancho in. So it can on that front be good, but Manchester United are unlikely to agree to Chelsea. Agree to selling to Chelsea with a wage contribution. Arrange a friendly, not one that I particularly use. It means that they can all call a friendly at any point, which is not great because you might not want to play a friendly then, and it just causes a whole problem. And but if you find yourself that you can't quite afford the fee, maybe it's a good way to get that little extra couple of million into the transfer value that gets the transfer across the line. And sell player first. Now this can be useful if you. So say Raheem Sterling we'll pick on him. If he's annoying you, if his contract is up, or for whatever reason, you want to make sure that if he goes, maybe he's kicking up a stink and he has a release fee that you think might be going to get triggered. It's just a good way to make sure that you don't get stuck with two highly paid players in the same position. So if we do this pending Raheem Sterling leaving, it means that the Sancho transfer won't be completed until Sterling leaves. So we have one of these two players guaranteed to come in or to be playing for us. If it's Sterling, if he doesn't leave, the transfer with Sancho is off. If he does leave, then Sancho comes in. So it can be very good if you have that sort of situation with transfer window winding down. There's a release fee that might get triggered, might not. You're not sure. You can sign the replacement, and then if it goes through, the initial transfer goes through. Great. If it doesn't, then you haven't not stuck with two players. Equally, you're not stuck with none. So that's that. Let's have a look and see if Man United will agree to this. So they want 66 million up front. And then they want all these other things as well, which means in the end we're going to pay 100 million for him, where we could have just paid 79. So in this situation, and they're not really willing to negotiate either. So if you've got the money to spend up front, you're probably better off just in this particular instance spending it. But equally, you know, if we were to, let's be hypothetical, if we were to have him for 49 games and he hasn't scored 50 goals and we haven't won the Premier League, we've got him for 66 million. Anything we sell him for beyond that, we get to keep. So it might be that we've mugged Man United off, we've saved ourselves, maths, 13 million, and then equally we can sell him on for more. So, you know, we could then sell him on for 80 million, and instead of breaking even on the deal, we've made 13-14 million. So it's worthwhile doing. It does negotiate down the initial fee, but as you've seen, we added on fees that should have taken it down to 49 million. It didn't, but if we sell him before all these conditions are met, then we've still got him for cheaper. So it just comes down to what your long-term plan is for a player, and if that is something that is worthwhile doing for you. So I hope you found this useful. It sort of gives you an idea of what all the different options are to offer for players. And as I said, it can work. It can end up costing you more. Just depends on what you want to do. If you found that useful, thumbs up. Subscribe if you are new. And I will see you, if not in the next tutorial, then hopefully for one of our Let's Plays. Take care.